So my name's Jeanie Cisco Meth, and we're going to be talking about taming the bully between your ears, because we all have one, yes? And so I really enjoyed Redhead Express and their last song, See what I see in you, see what I see, what? Something like that. I was like, I can't remember the name now. See what I see? I think that's what it was, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Okay. The problem with many things today is that we forget that we were created in God's image. Don't we? We forget how incredible we actually are. We forget that I am the daughter of a king. I am the daughter of a God. I am royalty. And I realized, so you see, is it okay if I tell you a little bit about myself so you know why? Why am I listening to this crackhead person, right? My last name is Cisco Meth. That's funny, haha. I was a high school teacher for 17 years. And I taught health, driver's ed, PE. I also coached basketball and a few other classes as well. But that's because I spent 16 of my years at a school for an alternative high, which means I dealt with kids who were involved in gangs, and they were, most of them were on drugs, most of them had their own children. And so I had to learn very quickly that this was not where I had come from. I had come from a high-end private school, a Catholic school, into an alternative high setting, which I absolutely loved, because when I was younger, I had a lot of issues. And one of them was I had dyslexia. I'm sure you guys have heard of that, yes? Fairly well known now. At that time, it was not. But I also not only had visual dyslexia, I also had auditory dyslexia and hearing. Okay, so somebody would talk to me. Anybody ever watched Peanuts? Yeah? Okay, and then when the adults talk, it's like, wah, wah, wah. Right, I had that. I had auditory dyslexia as well. So if I ask a question and you respond and I ask you to repeat it, you didn't say anything wrong, I just had the Peanuts thing going on in my head, okay? So as a child, you can imagine how elementary school was for me. Not only did I have visual dyslexia, auditory dyslexia, I also had a speech impediment. I was also legally blind. And I was a childhood cancer survivor. So I had quite a few issues. Yes? And I realized that, I remember it was probably about 5th grade. And I was really struggling. I was after school one day and do you remember 5th grade? Maybe not exactly, but you remember, it's just not that great a time, right? And I remember sitting in the desk, banging my head on the desk after school because once again I had failed another test. School was not fun for me at all. I really struggled with school because I had all of those learning differences. They're not difficulties, they're not disabilities, they're just differences. Who learns the same as the person sitting next to them? Anybody here? No, we all learn differently. So I had some struggles, not to say the least, but the worst one was the parent-teacher conference that night. Any of you go to parent-teacher conferences? Yeah. I was a teacher, and I participated as a teacher. I've participated as a parent as well, and then as a student. But this night, I remember the teacher saying, Jeannie's not going to amount to much. She's not going to make it through high school. She's too dumb. And at that time, it hurt. Oh my gosh, it hurt. But now, looking back, that was a gift that she gave me because it pissed me off. I was like, how dare you? You don't get to decide. I decide. I decide where I'm going to go. I decide what I'm going to do, not you, me. So at the time, it was damaging, it was devastating, it was scary. But looking back, it was an absolute gift. I am very proud to say that I am now a 2-time best-selling author. Oh my gosh, I still can't believe that. I'm like, what? I wrote a book? Really? Me? Pinch myself. And I remember sitting down to write my very first book, Bully-Proofing You, because people had been asking me for a while, Jeannie, you need to write a book. Jeannie, you need to write a book. And I'm like, not me. Because I would hear those voices in my head. Anybody have those voices? You can't do that. Maybe you shouldn't raise your hand. You can't do that. You're too old, you're too young, you're too fat, you're too skinny, you've got your hair's too long. Your name? You're going to go talk on stage with that name? It's just my last name, not my drug of choice. Come on, people, right? That name has been around for hundreds of years. The drug, only the last few. Anyways, so there were a lot of issues up here. But I'd set about learning how to tame the bully between my ears so I could sit down and write that book. I'm going to share a little story with you, okay? I have a great imagination, and as I sit down to write my first line in my book, I'm scared, and I'm listening to all those voices say, you can't do this, you're too stupid, you can't. I'm like, wait, there's spell check. If I was the only person in this world that didn't know how to spell, nobody would have invented spell check, right? So somebody else can't spell besides me. I've got spell check, so that was the first one. Okay, check that off. And then I realized, okay, I can do this, I can do this. People had told me you have an important message that saves lives, and I had seen it work time and time again in our school. Remember, I told you I was a high school teacher for 17 years, and I saw it save people's lives. And it's all about believing in yourself. People ask me, Jeanie, how do you bully-proof someone? You teach them to believe in yourself. It's not about what someone else says, it's about what you believe. Now, I have this incredible PowerPoint, and in the middle of it, I say it's incredible because I don't usually use them. I usually use a flip chart. And so in here, I had to immediately add some things because I'm used to a slide, and on my computer, I can draw on it, just like I do my flip charts, but this one not so. So you're going to see some slides that are a little bit different than the other ones, but that's because we just made them, okay? Can you guys forgive me for that? Okay, perfect. Because I can't write on his. The foundation, and I'm going to ask my husband to stand up for a moment, because on the back of his shirt is the pyramid that we developed for my book, and the foundation of that pyramid says personal value. Thank you so much, honey. Oh, there, we had it on there. So personal value is a decision that you make and then action that you take. You decide to like yourself. You decide that you are valuable. The problem is that so many allow other people to decide their value. Now, you don't need to raise your hand on this, but how many of you have had a child come home and say, Mom, so-and-so called me fat? Has that, don't raise your hand. Has that ever happened to anybody? Or just me? Or your child comes home and says, Mom, somebody called me a name, or somebody said something negative to me. Or maybe it has happened to me. Oh my gosh, when you start putting yourself out there and saying things, there's some mean people out there. They can say some really harsh things to you. So I realize that it's about what I believe. What do I believe? I am the daughter of a God. I am the daughter of a king. I am royalty. And I have people fleeing from me, to me, and then from me, right? We're going to do an activity because I really want to drive this home for you. And so I'm going to hand out, if you don't mind, there's 2 pieces on here. If you could hand one of those out to each person. There's actually 2 labels on here. If you could pass those back. Does everybody have something to write with? You're going to need to be writing. I did tell you I taught school, yes? Homework time. Okay. The pins are right there, right next to my purse. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do, now this, is there more? Anybody else need a label? There's going to be 2 labels on each little square that you're given. Thank you so much. So we've all been labeled at some point in our life. I'm just going to assume that because that's the way life works, yes? I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a teacher, I'm a speaker, I'm an author, right? Those are all labels. I've also been labeled dumb and stupid. I've also been labeled a crackhead. I've also been, I mean, the list can go on and on. But what I want you to do is I want you to think for a moment about a label that has been used to describe you, probably a negative one, in the last week or so. And what I want you to do is I want you to write it on one of those little address labels. There's actually 2 labels on here instead of just one. So what I would like you to do is pick a negative word that you have called yourself in the last week or 2. And maybe you're not like me, but I call myself negative words sometimes. And so if you've called yourself a negative word in the last week or so, would you write it on one of those labels? You thought you were going to get out of this, right? Do you need a pen? We have some extra pens. Anybody else need one? Does everybody have a pen? Everybody got their labels? While you're writing your label, this idea came to me when I was traveling to Washington to do a presentation. And I think the Lord did a pretty good job with this one. So do you have your label? Yes? Beautiful. What I want you to do now is peel that off and stick it on someone else. You guys have the absolute perfect reaction because nobody likes this part. But it's okay. I promise you it's going to be all right. You cannot put it on yourself, ladies and gentlemen. It must go on someone else. Did you hear what he said? He said, "Where's the guy that handed me the pen?" I was at a school, and I usually prep the teachers before I do this activity. And I'll tell them, watch for the students who beeline for somebody, because that student's being bullied. That student now has an opportunity to get one back, right? And so often, you cannot look at somebody and know if they're being bullied or not. You can't do that. That's not true. The captain of the football team, the head cheerleader, both of them in different schools have committed suicide before because of bullying. And you think, what? The captain of the football team, the head cheerleader, are you crazy? Being bullied? Yeah, it happens. You can't look at somebody and know if they're being bullied or not. Your biggest bully lives right here. Right here. So I know when someone in a school is being bullied because as soon as I ask them to stick it on somebody, they get excited. But most of them react the exact same way you did, which is, what? I have to stick it on somebody? No, never. Right? So I want to ask you, wait, we're in the wrong order here, I think. Oh, that's okay. This right here, imagine, if you would, for a moment, me writing on a flip chart that says, love thy neighbor as thyself. Have you heard that statement before? The most important part there is as thyself. The first part of this exercise, I asked you to write a name you had called whom? Yourself. And then I asked you to stick it on someone else, and you're like, no, oh, I can't do that. Right? Or some of you were happy. But you thought, the first thought through your mind was, no, I can't do that. So if you wouldn't call someone else that, why are you calling yourself that? Just a thought. Just a thought. If those words are going through your head, would you like to know how to stop them? I had to learn how to stop them because this book never would have been a reality if I hadn't have. This book never would have touched people. Yeah, I'm a speaker. This book wouldn't have touched people all across the world. I get emails and comments from people because I had the courage to share the message. I did not write this message. I absolutely believe this message came from God. Yeah, I put pen to paper or fingers to, keyboard, and I gathered information for years. I started this program when I was a high school teacher because we had students commit suicide. And I'm sure that you guys have heard of Columbine, Sandy Hook. The list goes on and on. it's time to end that. But it starts right here. Start loving yourself. Start respecting yourself. Remember when we started and I said, you are royalty? Do you realize that you are? When I first would sit down, when I first started transitioning from the classroom to the stage, there was a lot of fear. A lot of fear. And I was scared. And I go to my Bible very frequently. And one of the first verses, or one of the verses that I use all the time is Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Because I had quit teaching and moved out into the public arena. And the public arena is totally different than a classroom. Totally different than a classroom. So there were a lot of things I didn't know. There were a lot of things that I had to upgrade and improve and learn, yes? Anybody new tried something new before in their life? Nobody? Just me? Oh, there we go. Okay, so how many of you have tried something new in your life? Like walking, right? May not remember back to walking, but did you just stand up and immediately start doing it? Or tying your shoe or getting dressed? I don't know, but when I was a kid, I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I'd put my clothes on backwards sometimes. Just happens, you know. Then the other day I got up in the morning and I'm like, how did my pajamas get turned inside out when I was sleeping? I mean, really, what happened? I could have sworn I put them on the right way. Ever happened to anybody? Maybe just me, I don't know. When you try something new, you're going to be a disaster. Yes? But I read this really cool quote the other day, and what it said was, the master has failed more than the amateur ever dreamed of. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. You're going to make mistakes. That's life. Don't beat yourself up over them. Say, I'm trying something new. I can do this because God knows the plans He has for me. And He wants me to live to my full potential. You have important work to do. And you must do it. Because if you don't, you're going to leave a hole in this universe. You're going to tear the fabric. And it's going to leave a hole. Nobody else can fill that hole but you. Do you want to know how I know? That's the argument God and I had. When He was saying, Jeanie, you need to write a book. Jeanie, you need to share this message I've given you with more people than just the 20 or 30 people in your classroom year after year. We had a big old argument. I'm not sure I should be proud of that, huh? But I did. It's reality. I was like, seriously? You want me to what? Me? The person they told in elementary school would never make it? Wow. Scary. But important work. And you have important work too. You have important work too. I don't know what it is. I hope you do. I'm not here to help you find your purpose. I'm just here to help you tame the bully between your ears so you can make it happen. Now, I know we're out of sequence, but we're to this part next, and I don't remember what the next slide is, so thanks for being with me today. Hurt people hurt people. So if somebody says something to you or calls you a name or sticks a label on you that you don't like, guess what you can do? You can peel it off. So you have a label on you right now that you shouldn't like. You should not like that label. So I want you to just peel it off. Some of you don't have labels. What'd y'all do? Y'all hid in a corner or something? What? You chickened out? No. Okay, well, just pantomime with me peeling your label off, okay? So peel that label off. Peel it off. Get rid of it because you decide what sticks to you. You decide, not someone else. Now you have another label, yes? Please don't chicken out on this one. This label, guess what you're going to write on this label? something that you choose, something that you decide to be. Some of the ones that I use every morning when I wake up, the first thing I say is, thank you, Lord, for another day to become the person you see in me. Because, man, he sees me just as the Redhead Express was talking about, right? If only you could see me. My husband graciously told me one day, babe, if you could see me through your eyes. Does that mean 5, 10 minutes? What does that mean? How much? 2 minutes. Okay. If you could see you through my eyes, you would never be afraid, because I see greatness in you. I see greatness in you. So I don't know, but what's on your label? Go ahead and put that label on yourself and declare it now. I have a label for you at my booth. I'm up at 105. And it says, who I am makes a difference. Because who you are absolutely makes a difference. I used to give these at the end of the term to all of my students. And I would call them up one at a time and I would tell them how they'd made a difference in my classroom. And how they had impacted me and impressed me with the things that they have done. Most of my students would come to my school with straight Fs. And through help, I was not the only one at my school, please. It was not me alone. It was tools that we gave our students to help them graduate and go on. But they made a difference. Everywhere you go, you make a difference. You decide whether it's positive or negative. You decide whether it's positive or negative. So I'd love for you to stop by my booth and get one of these for free, please. And I'd love to see you. I used to, when we would do it at school, I would absolutely love seeing the field of blue all throughout the hallways. Because I would give one to the students and then I would give them an extra one and I'd say, go share it with somebody. Go give it with someone who's made a difference in your life. Can you think of someone who's made a difference in your life? I hope so. This is yes, this is no. Are you guys still awake out there? Okay, so please stop by and get your ribbon. If you would at least do that today. Okay, I had more things I wanted to talk about, more things I wanted to share, but I believe we are out of time. I don't know, now she left. I don't know, I know we started late. I have no idea where we're at. And so I want to thank you. First of all, thank you so much for coming today. Please tame the bully between your ears and live to your full potential. Thank you so much. I still couldn't hear you. I taught high school. I taught 9th through 12th grade. And sometimes we had super seniors. And I would tell my students, it's okay, I'll be here next year. I hope you're not, though. And so I said, I don't care, I'm here. As much as you need, before school, after school. I absolutely love teaching, but I love speaking even more because I don't have to grade papers. I don't care. I share my message and I really hope that you get it and you apply it and you change your life. But if you don't, no mom's going to call me and say, hey, why has my kid got enough in your class? I say, so I absolutely love what I do now. Love it. Yes. I travel all across the country. We're starting our first international negotiations. Oh, I'm so excited. And I'm really looking for a gig in Hawaii in about December. So if anybody, so yeah. Is anybody here from Utah? Okay, so in Utah, I have a sponsor who will pay for me to come into your school. So, and they also purchase books. They also will purchase the books. I donate the workbooks for free, and then they help cover my speaking fee. So it's no cost to schools in Utah. We're working on getting it in all the states. I'm really pushing for Hawaii, I'm just saying. So we're working on getting it in all states, but it's not quite there yet. Some of them we do, yes.
Do you ever do like private schools, homeschools?
Yes, both. Yes. I spoke at the homeschool conference, the Not Back to School. They did it over the internet this year. It was absolutely phenomenal. I spoke for them. I don't remember what day.
So you mostly do conferences, homeschooling conferences.
I do. I've done conferences. I've done groups as small as 3 people. I think my largest audience was going to be this weekend, but it doesn't seem to be quite panning out. But I think the largest audience is 1,200 people that I've done so far. So if you're thinking you enjoyed the message, you'd love to have me come, please contact me. Okay? Like I said, 3 people up to as many. Yes?
Can you just buy the book and the workbook?
You sure can. The workbook, if you purchase the book, I will give you the workbook for free. Absolutely. And we also have t-shirts. If you see the t-shirt there that my husband's wearing, it says, I love my life. And I do love my life. I absolutely do. But there was a time in my life when I didn't. I didn't. But by stating every morning, I love my life, the rest of the day starts to fall into place. And if you look at that, the I in my life, the color is brash bravery. And then also the font is comforta. And then the love is precious. The font is precious and the color is dreamer blue. And my business cards, every single color has something important about it. And I was going to give some business cards today and I forgot them. So stop by and get a business card. I'll tell you what those mean as well.
But you're just selling the books here? Or are they
Yes, my books are up there. They're in 105. Isn't that where we're at?
We're at the very end.
Yeah, we're at the very end. Across from the painting, oh my gosh, there's an artist up there that's just phenomenal. So I get to sit there and look at the books. Any other questions? I can keep talking until they kick us out. Are you guys okay with that? Are you up?
I'm the next one.
She's up. So are you ready?
But I don't have to start for 4 minutes.
Okay, I'll take 4 more minutes. So this is what I would really like to go over, this ginshai. Ginshai is a Sanskrit word. I knew nothing about it until I went to a writer's retreat with Bridget Cook. And I still can't believe that I went to a writer's retreat. But she gave me this coin, and I carry it in my pocket, not today, but in my pockets. And what it says, ginshai means never treat another person in a manner that would make them feel small, including yourself. Including yourself. So often we treat everybody else so much better than we treat ourselves. Please start treating yourself with as much love and care as you do others. You left, so I didn't know. So I just kept talking. Okay, so do you guys want to hear more? Yes? Okay, beautiful. I am pre-selling my book as well, Taming the Bully Between Your Ears. This is my 3rd book. I still can't believe I'm saying that. Taming the Bully Between Your Ears. Viktor Frankl, in this book, I start with a quote from Viktor Frankl, who I recently had the privilege of meeting his grandson. Oh, great day. I said, I'm trying not to be a movie star with you, but oh my gosh! And he has a quote, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our power to choose. And in our choice lies our growth and our freedom. Stimulus, response, choice in the middle. What are you choosing? What are you choosing? Are you choosing to believe what other people say about you? Or are you deciding? Are you following? When you pick up the Bible, I don't remember, I counted them at one time. I'm sorry, the number escapes me. But hundreds and hundreds of times the Lord talks about how he has plans for us, how he wants to prosper us, how he wants to show us abundance. We're the ones that fall back. We're the ones. I already gave you the who I am makes a difference. Here are some of the declarations that I use. Give me a sign or tell me, okay, this is the biggest part. Snoopy dance, okay? So, we celebrate every little moment that you get. In our house, we Snoopy dance. So make sure you celebrate and do this Snoopy dance. And I am hoping that I can get this to work, and then we will be done. I can't hear it. So someone comes in the house and they yell, Snoopy dance! And we come running from all over the house because I can dance like Snoopy. I ain't got no rhythm, but I can dance like Snoopy. I invite you to join me. Snoopy dance. Celebrate that we're here. Celebrate life. Enjoy yourself. Norleen, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a fabulous day.